Hi everyone, it's Little Blue and you're listening to my podcast, aka Little Blue. Now today is apparently known as Blue Monday. And I wasn't actually going to do a podcast today, but because of this Blue Monday thing that kept popping up on social media this morning, I thought, you know what? I need to have my say about this. You might have seen it over on Instagram because I did put something on my stories and I've just done a blog post as well. But me being me, when I saw Blue Monday pop up, I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm going to look into the origins. I'm going to see what the motivation is behind it. And I want to see what the message is that they're trying to convey. And turns out my research showed that it was a press release from 2005 from Sky Travel. And they supposedly had got all these studies done to show that the third Monday of January was considered the most depressing day of the year. Now, goodness knows how they've come to these statistics. Goodness knows how they've come to that conclusion, because everybody's lives are different and they couldn't have asked everyone on the planet. Seriously. So that being that, and the whole thought of it was done by Sky Travel as a press release, it was to sell holidays. I didn't jump on the bandwagon. However, I have seen some wonderful posts going, raising awareness for mental health and sort of just giving some positive motivation for today and trying to cheer people up. And that is fantastic. So if that's going to be the outcome, then so be it. But I didn't really like where it started. So I didn't jump on the bandwagon. And it got me to thinking quite a lot that when you give something a label, it's almost like saying it's okay to feel like that on that day. So there's nothing wrong with not being okay all the time. I always say that if you're not feeling okay, you're not feeling okay. It doesn't matter if it's the third Monday of January. But if you are fighting something like a mental health condition, like a physical illness, or just going through a really rough time and you feel like you have to constantly try and focus on the positives, which I do recommend. When somebody says this is the most depressing day of the year, it's almost giving you a license to stop fighting, to have a day off. And that's what I didn't like. I don't like labels. I really don't like labels. I never have done. And when I saw Blue Monday popping up and when I found out what it was about, I sort of had the opposite effect. I didn't want to be depressed. I wanted to prove people wrong, because positive energy, positive thinking can make a day different. So I was determined for today to be that project. And the majority of it has been amazing. You might have seen on Instagram, Baby Blue and I went out in town. We went to the library, read some books, went to a couple of shops, saw some friends, and then we went for a walk in the afternoon. However, we did have two incidents. We had two big tantrums. One, I feel it was because she got a little bit let down this morning by somebody she loves, and it was almost instantaneous. They left and her behaviour sort of went into default mode, where she becomes quite argumentative, quite difficult to be around, stops being helpful and just not herself really. So calm that situation down, and I thought, do you know what? Let's go out for a walk. Let's show you that somebody does want to spend some quality time with you, because I did. And off we trot. And we had about an hour and a half of amazing walking. And then we had this incident with a dog. Nothing the dog did. It was literally just because the dog's name is Cookie and she's got a phobia of the Cookie Monster at the moment. So she got quite aggressive. She bit me, which is a phase we're going through, and we are dealing with it. Don't worry. I am not pandering to it. I'm not letting her get away with it. And she also pushed me in dog poo. So that was a fun afternoon. But again, we came home. She calmed down. We had some cuddles. We talked about it, which is something I think is very important. And before she went to bed, I asked her, can you give me 3 ways you're going to be kind tomorrow? And she said, I'm going to be helpful. She's going to listen. And she was going to say please and thank you. So can't complain about that really, can we? And I've been sat here. She's gone to bed. I sat here, and at the end of each day, I sort of reflect, and usually I think, what are the positive things that have happened today? And they're the things I want to take away from the day. I want to forget the bad ones, especially if it's been an awful, awful day. And I mean, this could be anything from having a wonderful walk with your daughter to having an amazing blooming sandwich for lunch. It could be anything, because some days it is just so rubbish that the little things are the things that matter. So I was sat here, but I kept defaulting to the negative things that happened, because they were so horrible, and they weren't. I think they affected me a little bit too much, and I had to really sort of say to myself, right, come on, what were the positives? And there are a lot more positives, because the negatives probably totaled for about an hour and a half, and the rest of the day was amazing. So there were a lot of positives today. And I think, had I have gone in for this Blue Monday thing, I probably would have gone, oh, well, it's Blue Monday, it doesn't matter. And I wouldn't have even bothered thinking about the positives, but there were so many. And I've got some wonderful pictures from our walk, which I'm going to cherish, and I am going to put on social media. I've put a couple on there already, because it was wonderful. And it's this whole labelling thing. It just gets to me a little bit, because as soon as you give something a label, it's almost like this license, like I said. And it puts me in mind of when I was doing my A-levels, and I didn't know I was dyslexic. I was in the second year of my A-levels, and we were in an English class, and the words looked like they were moving on the page, which for me is actually a common occurrence. So I tipped the book upside down and said, I've just got to wait. The words are moving, I must be tired. And the whole class just looked at me as if I was crazy. And that's when I realised that this didn't happen to everyone, and that I had something called Arlene syndrome, which is where it literally looks like the words are moving, like almost dancing. And the only way I can describe it is when you're going up some escalators, and sometimes the grates in it look like they're sort of bouncing almost. It's that sort of effect. And I get it on clothes and stuff. If there's a really heavy black and white print, I can't look at it. If there's a really heavy red and blue together, really sends me off. It's almost like a 3D thing. It almost jumps out at you. It's very odd, very odd. But I mean, I went through the majority of my school life not knowing I was dyslexic. I got through GCSEs. I got through like the first year of my A-levels and stuff. And I was always academically very good. I always sort of wondered why I didn't get better grades, because I did put the work in, and that's probably why. But when I found out, it did hit me, because I'd always been sort of top of the class, and I couldn't quite understand how someone was telling me I read like a 9-year-old, or my spelling was like a 10-year-old, or stuff like this. I think the oldest I got was 13, and I was 17 at the time, so not fun. But as time went on, I used it as a way to improve myself. So every single day I would read out loud. It could be a menu, it could have been just a card, it could have been junk mail that had come through the post. I would read something out loud and do it in silly voices and stuff like that. And because I did that, by the time I got to drama school at 26, my sight reading teacher didn't know I was dyslexic. It was only because I told her one day in passing that she even knew about it. And she said, I would not have known. You have done a fantastic job. And this is where my whole belief that if you have got a disability, if you have been given a criteria and a name and a title to why your body acts like it does, or why your mental health is like it is, you can have a tendency to act in a stereotypical way for that condition. So I do say, a disability is only a disability if you let it disable you. And I mean, there are people who are told they're never going to walk who have walked. I've got friends who have been told you're never going to have children, but they kept trying and they've had like 2-3 children. It's amazing what positive energy and mental health can do. And you know what? Being told that today is Blue Monday, nah, I'm not going to be blue today. And it was a positive motivational tool for me almost. So I guess some good has come out of it in that respect. But my point is, if someone gives you a label, It's all right to push the boundaries. It's all right not to sort of believe it, if you will. And just keep going, keep pushing yourself forward, keep motivating yourself, and focusing on all of those wonderful positive things that are going on throughout the day. Because one day you'll be able to walk on your own and you'll be able to prove something. All those things that people said you'd never be able to do, you can do. And that's what I'm trying to convey. I'm so tired. I've literally just had this wave of fatigue come over me. But I really wanted just to say, don't always listen to what you hear on social media. I mean, today's apparently National Cheese Day as well, or Favourite Cheese Day, or something ridiculous. These things always come from somewhere, but quite a lot of the time it's not where you think it's come from. So I hope you have had a good Blue Monday like me. And I hope you didn't see those posts and allow yourself to get in the doldrums. You have to keep fighting. You have to keep pushing yourself forward, because I'd much rather be happy than be low, wouldn't you? I mean, there are so many things that are wrong with the world, obviously, at the moment. And people are going through so many different things. But there's just something about staying positive that makes a difference. So I highly 100% recommend it. Anyway, I'm going to bring the podcast to a close there, because otherwise I'm getting the soapbox out and I don't want to do that. You don't need to hear that, do you, really? Not at all. So have a good evening. Look after yourselves and sit there. Think about all the positive things that have happened today. And please email me, tag me, pop it on your Instagram stories and pop me a tag, or pop it in your Facebook stories and put me a tag, because I'd love to hear the positives. How have you been positive today? Actually, I'm going to go and put a post on Instagram now asking people how they have been positive today. Good one. Anyway, take care of yourselves. I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.